Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, let's talk about youth and school violence, a growing concern. Youth and school violence is a serious issue affecting students, families, educators, and entire communities. It includes a wide range of behaviors from bullying and physical fight to weapon and school shootings. Understanding the causes, warning signs, and solutions is key to protecting our children and building safer schools. Now, what is youth and school violence? Youth and school violence includes any act of physical, verbal, or psychological harm that occurs in or around school environment and involves young people. There are forms of this particular violence. So the common forms include bullying in person and online. When you bully someone in person, maybe something that started in school, from a schoolmate, classmate, or anyone, but you got to know in school, it started in school, or it happened in school, or but it was brought either physically, the bully comes to you physically, or it comes to the person online. Bullying, it is a form of school and youth violence. Another form is physical interactions. Physical interactions is another form of this violence. Gang related violence, vandalism and threat, weapon possessions, and also school shooting. These days, we'll find out that gangs are being even formed right from secondary school. These days, no longer just in high institutions, we are even seeing gangs in secondary schools. Children even start practicing other things, maybe from what they watched online, maybe from what they heard from their elderly ones, maybe from anywhere they get the information, they form their own gangs. Now you see this particular violence happening around schools, not just high institutions, even in junior schools, like secondary school, junior and senior secondary schools. Why does school and youth violence, why does it happen? There is no single cause at all, but several risk factors increase the likelihood of violent behavior. Several risk factors of this particular violence increase the likelihood of violent behavior. Remember, there is no reason. We can't say this is a particular reason why it happens, but several risk factors increase the likelihood of violent behavior. Exposure to violence at home or in the community. Some children have witnessed enough violence at home that gave them that mindset that violence is the only answer. Some of them, when you communicate with them, we're talking to them, you notice that they're not even ready to listen to you, that the only thing in their mind at that point is how to raise war. Let's fight it out, let's trash it out immediately. That's what some of them have been exposed, they witness at home, even in their communities. Some is unresolved trauma or mental health issues, peer pressure, and desire for acceptance. Some people are just desiring to be accepted. Some are suffering to belong. Some witness or some want to be like their mates. Some want to do because this their classmates, their friends are doing. So they want to belong. Peer pressure. So another one is bullying and lack of support. Some have experienced so many bullies. Some have been bullied so many times without anyone supporting them. So they have now accepted it that since I was bullied, since this is what I have been through, I will dish it out there in school or to any other person I come across. Now, media and social media influence. Media and social media influence. This one is another one because these days, youths are just focused on what they see on media, what they are seeing on social media. So when they go out there and witness all these things, they have it in mind that this is just the only solution. What they witness, what they watch on media, it has influenced them so much. Another one is lack of conflict resolution skills. When a child is not being taught on how to resolve issue the normal way, peaceful way, how to resolve conflict peacefully. When someone looks for your trouble, when someone um offends you, there are ways to resolve it instead of bringing violence to it. So when this child is not being taught of conflict resolution, there is no way that child will know that there are so many ways to answer someone who offends you than to take violence in. Another one is poor supervision on social safety protocols. Now let's talk about the impact of violence on youth. Does this violence have impact on youth? Yes, it does. Now let's talk about them. Number one is mental health issues. There is nobody who is always involved in violence that his or her mental health remains intact. Violence doesn't bring anything good at all. So number one is mental health issue. Decline in academic performance, increased school absenteeism or dropout. Now, like I mentioned, this can still make a school expel a student. It can still make you, when you remember that the kind of punishment you're going to face in school, personally you decide to stay back at home and not go to school. It can even make you on your own as a student to drop out because of violence. Another point is fear and unsafe learning environment, high risk of substance abuse and criminal behavior. When you are used to violence, when you are this type of person, even if you were not that type, you might be introduced to substances that you will abuse and even start behaving like a criminal. You might not be a criminal, but high substances abuse and also criminal behavior will be seen in you. These are warning signs to watch for. Sudden changes in behavior or mood, social withdrawal or isolation, unexplained injuries or damaged properties, obsession with weapons or violence threats made to self or others, decline in school performance or attendance. These are the warning signs. When someone around you start displaying all of this, you have to find out that this person there is something wrong. A child that likes going to school is suddenly telling you, no, I don't want to go to school today, always want to stay at home. Or that child comes back to school having injuries all over or something. Or now the child refuses to always socialize, do what others are doing. Or whenever you see that child is now obsessed with weapons. Now let's talk about the things that can be done to prevent it. Remember, this particular violence is about school and youth. Now the school has the youth has home, right? The person goes to school and there is a community where this particular youth comes from. So we are going to talk about these preventions, how things to do to prevent it, both for school, at home, and community. Now, let's take in school. Implement anti-bullying programs. In schools, every school should implement anti-bullying programs to educate students, provide mental health resources and counseling. They need to be provided with mental health resources and counseling. Promote peer mediation and conflict resolution training. There are schools that are just after a teacher going into the class to teach students and go away. Whatever thing again that should reshape those students, that should mend them, to make them behave properly, they don't care. You have to promote peer mediation and conflict resolution training. Strengthen security protocols and emergency plans. Encourage students participation in promoting peace. Encourage them. Now, let's come back to the home. At home, how to prevent this? Maintain open communication with children. There are parents that don't have communication with their kids. They are just there to give out school fees, go out and pay school fees, go to work. Now, maintain open communication. Always have a communication and know when your child is changing, when that child has been learning something bad from school or the person is really learning something good, which is why you're paying school fee. Set clear rules and expectation. You must give your children school rules and expectation. This is what I expect you to do. This is what I'm expecting from you at the end of the term or this week or everything. Set your rules and expectation for your children. Monitor media and internet use. Some parents don't care what their children are doing in the internet, on the social media. They don't even care what their children are doing with the cell phones they give them. You are just there as a parent. Your duty is not just to provide money. How do you monitor their life, their media life and internet? How they use them? Are you even monitoring? Address emotional or behavioral concerns early. You have to address it early so that they will start learning. They have to know their emotional and behavioral concerns. Be a positive role model. Now, some parents can't even stand to advise their children because of their own lifestyle. Your child should see you as a role model. When your child look at you when you're talking, the person will say, yes, if my father is behaving like this thing he or she, he is telling me is why he is like this, and I admire my father and he is my role model. That child would like to take your father, but not you being a father who beats up your wife, or who go there fight and bring problem to your family every day, when you sit your child down to or monitor or to advise that child will not listen to you because you are to be a positive role model to that child. In communities, create youth mentorship programs. So every community needs to create a youth mentorship program, offer safe recreational spaces and after school activities. Involve faith groups, NGOs, and local leaders in violence prevention. Report and intervene violence early. As a community, not when it's happening around you, not when it's happening in a family, you say it's not in your family, you don't care. If these things are happening, you can report on time. So now we've talked about this youth and school violence to an extent. Youth violence isn't just a school problem, isn't a societal issue. Every student deserves to feel safe in school. By working together, parents, teachers, students, and communities, we can build an environment where young people thrive without fear. Now, in this particular topic, a parent has a role to play, a teacher has a role to play, a school has a role to play, community has a role to play in making sure that children don't live in fear, rather they thrive to live without fear. Education, empathy, and early intervention are the keys to breaking the cycle. Please remember that I said education, empathy, and early intervention are the keys to breaking the cycle of this particular violence. So, my dear beautiful people, if you've watched this video to this very end, I also say thank you one more time. And please, if you've not subscribed to Quick Finance International channel, please do well to smash that subscribe button, comment, like, and share our video. Until our next video, see you.